Looks like we are live. Okay, folks, welcome to Gamcast for Monday morning. Going a little early because I'm a little under the weather. And also, this story is really breaking. This is hot. I predicted in a video 2 days ago that the judge issuing the injunction taking over the Department of Treasury was part of the Democrats' plan to provoke a constitutional crisis, and it looks like Trump is going to do it. And over the weekend, yesterday specifically, they took the bait. This is bombshell stuff. So just so you understand, 2 days ago on Friday, the Southern District of New York judge issued a broad injunction saying the defendants are restrained from granting access to any Treasury Department record, payment system, or any other data maintained by the Treasury, blah, 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 but did a bunch of things. The defendants, by the way, as you can see here, are Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Department of the Treasury, and the Treasury Secretary. Now, setting aside whether or not a judge, and a district judge, by the way, okay, this is the first court you go to, can issue an injunction telling the president what to do is nonsense. The reason this is so dangerous is this is an order going directly to executive branch duties. There are co-equal branches: the congressional branch, legislative, I should say, judicial branch, and the executive branch. Right? He is issuing an order telling the executive what to do. There is zero constitutional authority to do that. Now, folks, as an example, I don't think these district judges should be issuing these injunctions. I think there's where this is going to end up going. The Supreme Court's going to say no more of this because it's gotten out of hand. But anyway, here's an example where, again, I don't agree with it, but it would be okay, potentially. A federal judge in New Hampshire, this is this morning, has granted another injunction against President Trump's birthright citizenship order. Notice that's an order about an interpretation of the law and how he intends to do it, not purely executive functions such as the Treasury. Now, here's where the trap comes in. Now, I made the video on Friday. I predicted we were going to get to a constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis where you got the two branches at each other's throats, and the system doesn't seem to really have a way to fix it. Okay, and the way it's going to get fixed, I predict, is Trump's going to have a Jacksonian moment and say, hey, you made your order, I'm going to ignore it. I'm not going to enforce it, and I'm the only one that can enforce it. Of course, the Democrats are going to use that as an excuse to have riots in the street and have BLM and George Floyd all over again. But anyway, so yesterday, so you understand what's happening. And folks, I don't think I can keep this one to 5 minutes. I got a lot of stuff to get to, but I'm going to keep it close as I can. Here's JD's tweet, and I'm going to read it in its entirety. If a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. Obvious. If a judge tried to command the attorney general on how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Okay? Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. JD is not only a lawyer, he's spot on. And what he's pointing out here, as I said a moment ago, we're not talking about enjoining you from DACA, enforcing people, right? We're talking about purely executive function, purely, such as, for example, how a general conducts a war or how the general uses her discretion. Now, you would think the left would not take the bait. It's clearly bait. Right? Here's what you do. It's very simple. Well, sure, JD, that's true, but that judge didn't do that. And of course he did, but you just lie. You dodge it. Yeah, well, that's true. Nope, they didn't. They all took the bait. There's one, I could give you 1,000. And folks, there's not one person on the left that came out and said, JD's right about this. This is too far. Nope, they all said the same nonsense, the same lie. This is Nathan Robinson. He's a left-wing influencer somewhere, got 100,000 followers. They didn't teach us much law at Yale Law School, but one thing I do remember is that actually when the executive branch violates the law, the judiciary is entitled, open parentheses and obligated, close parentheses, command the executive branch to behave legally. Now, again, complete nonsense, but again, you would think he would not take the bait. And he's not stupid. He knows the bait. Well, guess who else took the bait? Pete Buttigieg. In America, decisions about what is legal and illegal are made by the courts of law, not by the vice president. To which Stephen Miller, again, taking the bait, doesn't need to. Okay, but again, the other reason they want to cause riots, that's one reason they're trying to cause this crisis. Number two is they don't like the constitutional system. They would love it if the legislature and judges could boss the executive around. Of course, not when they're in power, but when Republicans. Anyway, hey, Pete, care to show us the line in the Constitution where it says a lone unelected district court judge can assume decision-making control over the entire executive branch affecting 300 million citizens? Any mention of nationwide district court TROs, permanent power, all-powerful bureaucracy, makes another good point there. You're the Southern District of New York. Maybe you can issue an order about the Southern District of New York, but the entirety of America, right? That's crazy. Only the Supreme Court could do that. And Anyway, and that's the only one I think is going to come out of here. But folks, that then caused the left to pick up on this. So here's Jim Sciutto. He's a big hotshot over at CNN. Says, pay close attention to this. And he's responding to a tweet. The Trump administration seems to be gearing up to defy a court. Exactly. Followed by Andrew Feinberg. The VP appears to be signaling that the administration will ignore court decisions it does not like. No, court decisions that go too far. But again, they noticed it. Well, here's the bombshell, folks. Yesterday, Stephen Miller, who works for the administration, high level, followed up on what the vice president had to say. Take a listen.
A radical left judge said that the Secretary of the Treasury cannot access the Treasury computer system. This isn't just unconstitutional. That ruling is an assault on the very idea of democracy itself. What we continue to see here is the idea that rogue bureaucrats who are elected by no one, who answer to no one, who have lifetime tenure jobs, who we will be told can never be fired, which of course is not true, that the power has been cemented and accumulated for years.
And he's right. I think that's the strongest signal that they're going to do this. Now, the injunction, they have a hearing on Friday, and then the judge is going to have to decide whether he's going to make it permanent or not. He's going to make it permanent. So I'm not sure if they're going to defy it now or they're going to wait till then. But I believe they are going to defy it. And as you know, the Democrats are going to talk about law and all this stuff. Even though Biden, when they issued many an order against him, he ignored it. Student loans being one example. So they're completely nonsensical. But one last thing I want to make sure you understand, because the last video I did on this talked about how they've been planting little seeds in the law to create these conflicts so they could run to these judges. Just so you know how this works, and I'm going to follow up with this, probably going to be at 7.5 minutes, and I'll be done. So it's another 30 seconds or so. Here's how it works. You know who the emergency judge is. I could call Fulton County right now and find out who the emergency judge is. You know why? Because they set it in advance so that judge knows he or she has to be there all day to hear emergencies. So they knew who the emergency judge was on Friday. They knew this judge was it. Not to mention the complaint is 60 pages. The memorandum is 48. They knew who to get. They filed it on Friday so there'd be no chance for Trump to respond. This was all concocted, and we'll see where it goes. But, folks, I predict Trump will defy it. The Democrats will use it as an excuse to riot. Anyway, if you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you do, you will see me on the next one, which will be much shorter, I promise.